This piano right here, my man got it for me. Do I know how to play the piano? Nope. Why did he buy it for my birthday? Because I said it made me happy when I played his brother's piano. And some stupid ass man is not responding to you text. Girl, bye. Nobody wants to watch someone in a relationship talk to someone who is single about how to get a man. Because let's face it, most of that is down to luck and timing. However, I think that as someone who used to be a serial dater to now having a man, I'm going to talk based on pattern recognition and data that I've collected over the years rather than relationship status. So ignore the fact that I have a man. Let's talk data. Situationships. Why your friends who are in a relationship tell you a completely different advice to someone who is single. Your single friends will speak to you differently, and that's just the way it is. So again, this is all based on data. This isn't necessarily, oh, I got the man and this is my advice about how to get the man. Look, it's the ghetto out here in the street. I know that more than anybody. I was single for 3.5 years before I met my man, and I had to move to a new country to find him. Period. So let's get into it. Situationships. I flipping hate situationships. I hate the way it makes a beautiful woman who has a life together, who has friends, who has good family, and just things going well for her. I hate the way it makes her feel badly about herself. I hate the way men who are unserious make women feel. And sometimes when I talk about men, it's like, oh, men are trash, oh, men are these, men are that. It's not that I hate men. I don't. I love men. I love to date. I love going out with men. I love being around men. I think life would be low-key kind of boring. Not boring, but like it would feel somewhat incomplete if it was just women. That's how I feel. I know I see those videos on Instagram and TikTok where it's like, would you live in a town with just women? And then older women are like, hell yeah. And then they ask the man, would you live in a town with just men? And they're like, oh God, no. Okay. I don't think I would thoroughly enjoy a town with just women. I'm sorry. I would love it, but I wouldn't feel completely satisfied. Anyway, I digress. What I was about to say was that situationships make women feel some kind of way that makes me upset for them. Because I've kind of been there before, right? And it's like when I turned 25, was it 25 or 26? I forget the year when my brain kind of like switched. It was like a switch flipped in my brain. I would say 26. Was it 26 or 25? Anyway, it was the year where I was starting to think about whether or not I wanted to move to America. I used to live in the UK, and it's always been like a when, not if, I was going to move to the US. And so once I kind of thought to myself, okay, I want to move in the next 1 or 2 years, I started dating differently. I started dating somewhat temporarily. I started dating from a noncommittal perspective. Let me put it that way. And I'm sure you've heard the saying, act like a lady, think like a man. I will say I kind of sort of started thinking like a man in the sense that I became more non-committal. And on average, a lot of men, more than women, are non-committal. So for me, it wasn't that I didn't want a relationship. I actually did. But I kind of didn't see it working out if I got into a relationship at that time in my life, because a lot about my life was still if, maybe, when, those kind of questions. And it's like, why would I put someone else through that? Like everything was still, scrambled up in my brain. So I don't think that I was ready for a relationship. I wanted one. I thought it would be nice. It would be nice to have one. I still didn't actually actively chase after a relationship. But that didn't stop me from going on dates. That didn't stop me from meeting people. That didn't stop me from dressing up all cute, flirting and going out with men. Does that sound familiar? Of course it does, because that's what men do to women. Men will tell you that they want a relationship. And it's kind of true. Like I just said, I did want one. But was I ready for a relationship? No. The answer is no. I wasn't in the place for it. Mentally speaking, and just like in terms of like timing, the timing of my life, I just wasn't ready. I didn't have the capacity for a relationship, even though I wanted one. So when men say they want a relationship, but then they act otherwise, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're lying. It just means what it means. They're not ready. They may want one, but they're not ready for one. They don't have the capacity to hold a relationship down. Now, that completely changes when they are actually ready, which is why I said a lot of getting into a relationship is timing and luck. Okay, because I've said this to my man before. If I met him 2 years ago, if I met him in the UK when I was, in that point in my life where I didn't really know where my future was going, I don't think we would be together. Actually, I know for a fact we wouldn't be together. Not that I don't think he's a great guy or is worth, staying in the UK for, because I think people have that misconception that, if he wanted to, he would. I will get onto if he wanted to, he would later, because I think there's some fact to that, but it's not always true. I think most people will put themselves here above, all other things, including a woman, including finding a partner sometimes, especially if the timing isn't right. So if it's the right person, then it's the right time. If it's not the right person, then it's not the right time. If it's not the right time, then it's not the right person. I hope that made sense, at least some sense. Anyway, back to what I was talking about. Situationships. I hate it because currently 2 of my friends were discussing a date that one of them went on. So I'm going to call it friend A, sorry I'm talking about you, and friend B, sorry I'm talking about you too. Friend A went on a date. She thoroughly enjoyed the date. She thought it was kind of too short because the guy had something else to do. So I think it was an hour and a half. But she really enjoyed it. He had a good job. It was charming. It held a good conversation. It was attractive. And she was really looking forward to seeing him again. She told us about this guy and I was like, sounds good. And she said, but he hasn't texted yet since the date. And I was like, not even to ask if you got home safe? And she was like, no, something like that. And I was like, so he didn't respond to your text saying you got home safe? And then she said, I didn't tell him I got home safe. And I was like, okay, that's probably fine. Maybe he's thinking you're not interested because you didn't tell him you got home safe. Because for me, it was just customary. If I actually wanted to see someone again, I will text them, hey, I got home safe. If I absolutely did not want to see them again, I will not say anything. But if I was unsure or I wanted to see them again, then I would say, hey, I got home safe, had a good time, whatever. So then I said, well, you didn't say anything, so maybe that's why he thinks you're ghosting. But at the same time, if he had a good time, he should have texted you. He should have said, did you get home safe, yada, yada, yada. But I was like, minor, maybe you text him. That's a minor, not a red flag, just a minor deduction from his score. If he was to be rated, whatever. If he was on a 9 out of 10, now he's on an 8 out of 10. You know what I mean? So I was like, you know what? You could text him and just be like, hey, I had a good time. I got home safe. Start the conversation. Now, I don't know who texted who first. Is it whom? Who texted whom? Whatever. I don't know who texted first. But I think a day goes by and she's like, he texted. He said that he wanted to go on another date or something like that. And so she was excited. And I was like, good for you. And then I think another day goes by and then she said, he's kind of ghosted her or whatever. He hasn't texted for a whole day. I think she said something like, if this guy's going to text me only once a day, then we're going to have a problem, And I was like, that's not promising. Because again, remember when I said act like a lady, think like a man, and how I was in a non-committal phase 2 years ago and would, act a certain way because I just wasn't ready for a relationship. That's how I used to act. When I wasn't really feeling it with someone, I would text them once or twice a day, right? It wasn't our busy hours that necessarily determined my lack of texting. It was just that I wasn't really feeling it. Either it was a maybe or I just simply wasn't interested. They didn't make me that excited. Were there men that I was texting more than once a day, even though I was busy? Yes, of course. So I find it funny that we all know how we act when we like someone. You know how you act when you fancy a guy. You know how excited you get. You know how you text your group chat. You know how excited you are to text them versus how you act when you don't really fancy someone. When there's some random guy that keeps texting you, but you're not really interested. You know that, right? So why is it that we can't accept that the other person is feeling the exact same way? Why is it that we know that, but we still try and make excuses for the other person not texting us? Exactly. And I know it's easier said than done. I acknowledge that. It's hard to be like, one text a day, bore by. Because, like friend B said, what if he's busy? He has this important job. I'm not going to say what it is, but, it's an important job. And what if he's just busy with work or whatever? And then I said, it takes 5 seconds, literally 5 seconds, to send a voice note or voice typing. You can voice type even if you don't have time to type with your hands. I'm lazy, so I be sending voice notes or I voice type a lot because I don't want to, type with my hands. So if you're really interested in someone, you want to put in the effort to see them, I think you can send a 5-second voice note to say, hey, I'm going to have a really busy day. I'll text you in the evening. When you're sitting on the toilet to take a huge dump, you're there for at least 3 minutes. Text them. I, have a job where I can't really be on my phone like that because my manager, she has like very clear 20/20 vision to where I'm sitting. I can't be on my phone all the time, just like clack, clack, clack. So I don't always like reply to text, even from my man, like on time. It could take a few hours. But guess what? When I get up to go pee, I take my phone with me. I sit there and I go respond when I'm on my lunch break. You can't tell me this guy did not take a lunch break, no matter how busy he is. You know what I mean? But anyway, friend A is in the, girls chat now. She's like, oh, if this guy's going to take all day, we're going to have a problem, whatever. He hasn't said anything since he said, oh, we should see each other again. And I said, so you don't have a date on the table. He hasn't asked when you're free. You guys have not really held a proper conversation since the date. And I was like, girl, like, you might have to just move on from this one. Like, I don't think this is going to work. And then friend B, like I said, was, making all these excuses for the guy. And I'm not trying to say I'm right and she's wrong, because guess what? A lot of what I'm saying, even though I call it data, it could, let's call a spade a spade. It could be that I'm just speaking from a place of like hurt from past experiences. It may be that I'm projecting. I may be projecting. I recognize that. But like I said, as someone who has been in the ghetto versus now in a loving relationship, I know the difference. The difference was clear from day one. There is not a single day that has passed that my man has not called me or texted me since we met in September. Every single day at about the same time. Actually, now we text earlier around lunch. But when we first started going out, it would be like around 6, 7 p.m. 6, 7. Who do I think I am? Anyway, he would text around 6, 7 p.m. every single day. It got to the point I started to know to expect it. I would look at the time. I'll be at work still maybe, or I'm on my way home. And I look at my phone. I'm like, he's about to text me. I just knew consistency is like the best data you can get. If a guy's not putting in the effort, if he's not being consistent with you, I'm sorry, it doesn't like you. I'm not a good texter. Me neither. Maybe there are some people that really like being on their phone. But even when I'm on my phone, I'm not texting people like that. I'm on social media. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram. I have text on my phone that I'm ignoring. I know that. You have text on your phone that you're ignoring right now. But guess whose text you're not ignoring? Your man. Your girl's text. That person you have a crush on. Your siblings. You're not ignoring their text. Why? Because it's important to you. It's as simple as that. And, I have the reputation amongst my friends now for maybe being like a low tolerance person when it comes to men. I am. I'm low tolerance with men because I really hate it. I know where friend A is coming from. I know she is sitting by her phone anxiously going like, oh, why is it not texting me? And then the phone buzzes and she's like, another notification from, I don't know, TikTok. It's not who you're expecting. You anxiously wait for that text and it just never comes. And then you're just like, why always me? Or why never me rather? Like, why? Why wouldn't he date me? Why wouldn't he just pick me? I hate it. I hate it. And that's why I so actively, in fact, it's like a form of activism right now for me to like shake up all my girls and be like, stop it. Leave him alone. The more time you spend on someone who doesn't care about you, the longer it takes you to meet Mr. Right. That's how I want you to think right now. the guy that you're anxious about, is that how you want to feel? Is that how you want your man to make you feel? If he's already making you feel anxious, is it the man for you? Okay, let me round my story up because I didn't finish the story about my friends. Friend A and friend B. Another day goes by. Friend A texts the group chat, oh, he messaged me. I guess he was busy after all. And okay, at that moment, I was like, oh, that's a relief. But I was like, look, I'm not bullish on this guy because he's already showing patterns of inconsistency. He's going up and down and up and down. And that's how he's going to continue to make you feel. I didn't say it in those words, but I said to her, I was like, I'm not bullish on him. I'm really not bullish on this guy. But it's a good sign that he texted, right? Because guess what I said before? It's obvious when they want to be with you, they text you, they put the effort. So just as he's texting you now, meaning he wants to be with you, if he stops texting, you should also take that as a sign that he's just not that interested. And I would really not like you to put too much effort in this. Think of him as one of many. That's really the best way to date. And it's the hardest thing to do in the moment because you just want to find your man, especially when you're getting older. Yeah, the way you date just changes. You're thinking more long-term. You're thinking more, is it going to be a good partner in the long run? You know, I'm not going to go as far as saying kids because some people don't want kids. But it's like, is this a good man? You start thinking about those things. And so if someone's making you feel so shitty about yourself, because I know that she was upset in that moment, when he didn't text her. That's not how you want to feel. Don't make excuses for men. Do not make excuses. It's going to be so obvious. Boy, was it so obvious with my boyfriend. It was just so obvious. I didn't have to think too hard about whether or not he cared about me. In fact, when he became my boyfriend and I posted an Instagram story of us hanging out or something, I think we were in the club or whatever. And I was like, oh shit, I just posted my boyfriend for the first time. My friends in Manchester are going to have questions. So I messaged them and I was like, by the way, hard lunch, that's my man in the Instagram story. And they were like, what? How did this happen? You didn't tell us. Oh my God, how? And I was like, I don't even know. It just kind of happened. And I thought about it. I really thought about it. I was like, wait a minute. I'd never even told them that I met him. And it's because there was just nothing really to say. It's when someone's been hot and cold, when you need to decode someone's energy, when you need to ask questions about how he's acting, when you need to analyze his patterns, that's when you post in your group chat. That's when you ask all these questions. That's when you talk about this man that just isn't acting right. When he's acting right, when he's consistent, it's just calm, when your relationship is just calm, there's really nothing to say. People say that, calm relationships are boring because it's there's nothing to fight about, there's nothing to yell about, there's nothing to complain about. It's yeah, I'm sorry I didn't tell you because it just kind of happened. It didn't take up too much room in my brain. My relationship never took up room in my brain where I can't think clearly because some stupid ass, dusty ass man has not responded to my text. That never happened. I was able to continue with my life, business as usual. And not to say that I didn't get excited. It just wasn't consuming my entire being. I would go to my work, come back, be like, oh my God, I get to see this guy this evening. It was just, everything was just it fit into my life. It didn't make my whole life just explode up in flames. That all-consuming, crazy feeling you get when someone's toiling with your emotions. Don't let that happen. I'm going to end this by saying, if he wanted to, he would, but only if he is ready. Does that make sense? He could want to, but he's just not ready to. Not right now, at least. Oh, I didn't finish my story. Oh, right. Okay. So that guy texted her, but 2 days later, he canceled the dates that they were supposed to go on and just stopped messaging after that. So remember when I said he was texting and then, she was like, oh, he texted. I guess he was busy. He asked to go on a date. They spoke all day, she said, but poof, like a ghost, just like that. Same way he acted at the beginning, same way they come is the same way they go, I tell you. Usually the first thing you fight about in the beginning of a relationship or a thing with a guy is the same thing you're going to continue to fight about, really. I found that is the case. So based on my years and years of dating men and just the patterns that I've recognized, dating in general, if they really like you, it's going to be obvious. You won't have to try too hard. Like I said, think about the guy that always tries to go out with you that you're ignoring. He's persistent, he's consistent, and it irritates you because you don't want him to try. It's the other one you want to try. But guess what? The other one doesn't want you, so they're not trying. It's kind of like that, round and round it goes. Everything goes round and round. That's all I have to say. I hate situationships, and I do feel like single people give completely different advice than people in relationships because they want to tell you something that'll make you feel good about yourselves. They want to be encouraging. They want you to feel like, it's not your fault and that, it's the other person's fault and there's hope. But you can do that without pampering. You can tell the truth and at the same time support your friend. That's how I feel. That's really how I feel. I would tell my friend, girl, you're beautiful. You're so beautiful. You have nothing to worry about. You'll be fine. You're going to find someone. But at the same time, leave him alone. He's not into you. Girl, just tell him bye. And put your eggs in multiple different baskets. It's kind of a game of numbers, right person and right timing. All right, that's it. Thank you guys so much for listening to my podcast and watching on YouTube if you're watching on YouTube. And I'm going to link this video here because if you like this video, I think you will really like this video.